But again, I don't know that I've ever seen Guy Pearce be bad. Maybe a bad film.
Yeah, I was going to say there are bad movies.
Like bad. I don't think
no,
so.
I don't know. I can't think of anything. So we'll go with no.
Yeah, we'll go with no. Rarely. Normally, you know what you're going to get from Guy Pearce. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Visually Stunning Movie Podcast. I'm Mark. That over there is Ryan. Hey Ryan.
Hello.
Lots to talk about. We're gonna start catching up today, but let's start with this week's. I don't want to say big release because I don't know that it's a big release. Big name director, big stars. The Dog Stars, from director Ridley Scott, based on a book, post-apocalyptic world, in which a virus has wiped out humanity. One of the few standard ways in which post-apocalyptic material begins. Nuclear war and worldwide virus. Those are the two favorites. We went with worldwide flu virus, as it turns out. The year is 2035, and we find the survivors out and about. Jacob Elordi is Hig, who is a pilot who is living on an abandoned airfield. Of course, everything's abandoned at this point. With Josh Brolin's Bangley, former Marine survivalist, and they've carved out quite a little existence for themselves. Defending themselves against the roaches that keep trying to take their materials and stuff, as always happens in every post-apocalyptic piece of material. Until while he is flying around getting supplies one day, he thinks he hears a transmission from Grand Junction, Colorado, because they're outside of Denver. Thinks he hears something from Grand Junction. It sticks in his brain, and he decides he needs to go because things. And then the movie takes off. Post-apocalyptic. How do you feel about the genre in general, Ryan?
I'm fine with it. But at this point, it's very hard to do something new.
Yes.
We're kind of doing films that are bits and pieces of things we've seen, and maybe there just isn't a lot to be said. Maybe there's not a lot to be said about the apocalypse at this point. But I think, the fact that we're limited to basically two options may be a place to start looking at maybe there are other ways the world ends.
There's a couple of my favorites in the past. A Quiet Place. Not a worldwide virus. Aliens.
Yep. Aliens.
Day of the Triffids. One of my other favorite post-apocalyptic things by plants and blindness. So, so if you've never read the book, by the way, go find it and then watch there's a 70s film that's pretty good. And then there's like an 80s or 90s miniseries, which is also pretty good. But that's actually but the book is actually really exceptional. So I highly recommend it. But the Dog Stars, also, two other big names in this, Margaret Qualley and Guy Pearce.
Yes.
I think the last time I saw Guy Pearce was in The Brutalist. I think
that may be correct.
Where he was a dick, and that's putting it mildly.
Well,
he was not a nice man.
He's not a very nice man for part of this film either. But
he's grumpy.
There's good reason
and scared.
Well, yeah,
it's a post-apocalyptic world, and he's with his daughter, Seema, played by Margaret Qualley. Yes. So he has a lot on his worry plate. Let's put it that way. Although they have also carved out quite the little existence for themselves. The two other big names in this don't show up a lot. They show up enough, and they're both good in what they do. And that's Allison Janney, who we'll brush on because I don't want to spoil a lot, and Benedict Wong, who plays the leader of a Mennonite colony in Colorado.
They're not Mormons.
No, not Mormons, and you know that. Sorry. So they're not quite in the movie enough. But again, Allison Janney, I don't want to ruin her role.
She's more of a glorified cameo, to be honest.
It is, but it's really good. So I like that bit because red flags. Look, it's thank you, Ridley Scott. 1 hour and 58 minutes. I think in the hands of a lesser director, this movie comes in at 220, 225.
Probably. Very easily.
And
it easily could have. Yeah. No.
And it does not need to. One could argue that this one could be shaved by about 10 minutes.
Yes.
I don't hate that it's 10 minutes longer than it could be, but it could be 10 minutes shorter, which is nice. I think overall, I think the performances are good.
Yes. Cinematography is great.
Oh my God. Half this movie is him flying over the Rockies.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man, but if you could just, I mean, and if that's where the extra 10 minutes were cut, the movie would be lesser for it. So, because it is just stunning if you've never seen the Rockies. It's amazing from the air. But yeah, so we get roving bands we get isolated little patches of what they call roaches who are just there to scavenge. And then, of course, we have a new threat, the Reapers coming up from Mexico, Central America, and they are ruthless and relentless and barely human anymore. So that, you get that outside threat. Again, bits and pieces of other things that have come into this one. I was okay with this overall. I mean, a lot of people really hated the fact that, yeah, as you said, it's tough to do new stuff in the post-apocalyptic wasteland. But as long as you do it well, I think that's okay. Because if you're going to do what I've seen before and do it crappily, that's worse.
Yeah, I think the main thing this film actually has going against it might be the title.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. But yeah, it's depressing. My wife can't watch this movie. She would not be happy.
No, she would not.
She would not be happy. There for a while, I was thinking to myself, I could tell her if she watched it, it'll be, and then it was like, nope, turns out I was wrong. Yeah. And if you've listened to the show for any length of time, you know exactly why.
There's certain lines that cannot be crossed.
Yeah. So, it's, again, so it's got all these post-apocalyptic tropes, which again, that does well enough or better. But again, I think it's the performances. I think Brolin is great as Bangley. He's literally, he's the insane survivalist ex-Marine who's actually the voice of reason most of the time. Yeah. So
he's the one of the few that actually have a sense of how bad things are.
Yes. Yeah. Now he's insane. Then
no,
he is. Nope. That's your touchstone for reality right there.
Yeah.
So that's great. Again, Guy Pearce plays Margaret Qualley's dad. He's good, but again, I don't know that I've ever seen Guy Pearce be bad. Maybe a bad film.
Yeah, I was going to say there are bad movies.
Like bad. I don't think.
No, so. I don't know. I can't think of anything. So we'll go with no.
Yeah, we'll go with no. Rarely. Normally, you know what you're going to get from Guy Pearce. So, he's good, but he has as good a grasp of reality as Bangley does.
He's just not quite as.
He's just not quite as. I almost used a word that just it's correct, but I hate to use it. But militant about it.
Yeah,
he's intense, and he's not as defensive either. He's like emotionally defensive, but like he doesn't have the defenses.
Well, I would say that he's generally speaking, I don't think he's military.
No.
So I think that there's a different mindset as well that goes there.
Yeah.
So I think for him,
he's protective, but he's not defensive.
Yeah, he's kind of been, I guess, a rancher his whole life. Is that something along those lines?
Yep.
So obviously he's rugged.
Yeah.
But he's connected to the land, and they're in a tenuous spot as well. And they I think everyone kind of knows eventually, no matter how remote you are. And I think that's kind of what this film's about, is eventually it's going to come for you.
Yep.
And it's you see Denver basically a ghost town.
Yep. Dude, I do want to say one thing, because it is hard to do new stuff in these things, and the ongoing scavenging. You think probably 10 years. It feels like they said about 10 years.
Yeah,
they've been doing this, and you're like, well, there can't be anything left. I love how they address Hig's supplies.
Yeah,
I'm like that. I saw that and I was like, that was just beautiful. They didn't have to say anything, and you're like, God, he's smart.
Yeah.
So, and you'll know it when you see it, people. But he's super smart. Bagley's got his supplies. I love her. Was like, hey, ain't no one got bullets no more. It's like,
This dude does.
This dude does. Because I kind of know a guy like him. So I get it. I was like, as soon as he saw him picking stuff up, I was like, I know where he's going.
Yeah,
that's where he went. But even that eventually is no longer going to work.
Yeah,
that I also know. So, but it's like, but all those little touches, that's what's nice. They didn't gloss over anything. They didn't just say, "Oh, I happened across a thing I've never found before."
Yeah,
it's like it would have been found, dude. It's like, nope. This one's like, I see what you did there, and no one's going to find it because no one's going to go there.
No one's gonna. Yeah, there's certain places where
to go there.
You would have to. You have to know.
You have to know. It's like brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So that was great. I love there were the little touches when he's in Denver. You see the temporary medical center, triage area downstairs. It's like it sounds familiar. So, but it's like all those little design features were nice as well. Yeah. The fact that his plane was a POS that had been patched back together, had somebody else's door on it, and he was constantly fixing it.
Well, he's a mechanic,
and he was a mechanic before.
So there's again, a lot of the details support what they're able to do.
Yeah,
the roles that they play, and how they survive. Basically, it tends to be a combination. How did these two people survived because?
Because
rather than this one person, because you take one person out of the mix and it doesn't work,
as evidenced.
Yes, there is. So I guess the key to the apocalypse is diversity, and you know what? That's probably not really that far off.
No, it's actually really isn't. So again, I don't want to spoil a bunch of stuff because there's little moments that are nice. Grand Junction is that's a lovely little sequence, even the lead up to it.
Well, yeah.
But once you get inside, you're like, dude, okay, whatever, man.
See, for me, it was when they're landing. That was when I went, oh.
All the planes or all the lights?
Both. Just something about it made me go, okay, there's something going on here, and I don't know that I want to get out of this airplane.
Well, because it could be good or it could be bad. You don't know. You just don't know. I mean, because his home where he left Bagley was full of rotted out airplanes.
Yeah, well, he's an optimist. That's another thing. He's a dreamer. Still, somehow.
He's hopeful, but he's also broken, depressed. Yeah, but he's also broken.
He's pretty broken.
Pretty broken.
Broken enough that you're like, dude, someone needs to hit you upside the head.
And Bagley tries. So that's great. I put in my written review that I love these kinds of material, whether it's written or whether it's film. I used to think I love watching how humanity tries to survive and rebuild itself. But I think I had to amend that because this film, I think it's because the cast is so small. I realized that it's not how I don't like to see how humans rebuild. I like to see how people rebuild.
Yeah.
Try to survive. Because how does this person do it? How does this person do it? And it's each according to their nature, because nobody in this film acts against their nature. Nobody. Bagley is Bagley all the way through. Pops is Pops all the way through. Seema is Seema all the way through. Hig is Hig all the way through. Darlene is Darlene. And she explains why she is the way she is. But so that's your nature, and that's how you're going to attempt to move on. Very rarely do you encounter a character in some material like this that is not who they were, or is acting in a way contrary to who they were. I can think of one where the transformation was incredibly different, and that's Negan from The Walking Dead. Once you learn his backstory, you're like, how is that guy that guy? But it's rare. It is absolutely rare. So I had to amend that and say, no, I like to see how the individual people do. So that was what was fun for me once I figured out that that's what I was watching in this. And again, and I think it's because the cast was so small. The Walking Dead, there's so many characters.
Yeah, there are.
You're watching groups and waves and stuff.
Well,
behaviors.
They had to, kill off. They had plenty of people to kill off, so they could last a few seasons.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, and then, but they had to have numbers to survive. And in this, it's the point where you don't necessarily have to have huge groups.
No, we're able
to focus on people. So that was a nice change.
It is kind of frightening to think that, and I don't think this is unrealistic, but just to think that we hadn't figured out a way to rebuild at that point at all, because it's quite clear that, first of all, that the virus was more devastating, I think, than
it had to have a 99% death rate.
Something.
I mean, it literally had to have just an apocalyptic death rate.
Yeah.
So, and it's still out there. I mean,
yeah, no, there's still, at least there was no cure.
No, there was no cure. So some people were immune. Some people got some few people got over it, but yeah, it was basically a whiteboard eraser population. So, but with that few people, the rebuilds happen on smaller scale.
Yeah.
I mean, look, even in Avengers Endgame, you look at 5 years after the snap, when we only lost half the people. San Francisco is still a mess. New York, the streets, are not cleaned up necessarily. Things are still jacked up. There's kind of a functioning government, but they only lost half the people. In this, you're losing most of the people, and you're also losing probably 99.9% of your expertise for putting the world back the way it was.
Yeah.
In terms of technology and electricity and running water and all of those things we take for granted as people in the 21st century.
And that actually it gets addressed as well in a scene in this film about who's left and who has value and whatnot. So
who has value.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting in that regard. So yes, I actually enjoyed it quite a bit.
No, I think it's good. I just I don't know that it is overall, if there are any real revelations or anything really particularly new going on. There are a lot of other films that it does feel like at times. There's but I think generally speaking, I did like it, and I do think obviously it's a very beautiful film to look at.
We watched it in IMAX.
Yeah, and IMAX is probably IMAX or the big screen, biggest screen you can find, the mega screen or whatever you have locally. If you're going to see this film, definitely catch it on something as big as possible. It does make a difference.
Because it is shot beautifully.
Yeah, and I don't know how much this cost to make. I'm sure it cost a nice amount. And hopefully, it can make that back. I don't know that it's going to be a hit. I think it might be a little too slow and intellectual. And it's not overly intellectual, but it's also not really overly an action film. So there are moments of action, but there's a lot of just humanity in between, and people with issues, as you may. I think it would be hard not to have issues.
And if you didn't, the situation might give you some.
Yeah. So
according to the internet, it's $110 million.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot.
So it can make it if it legs, but it's got a leg in the double digits for at least 3 weeks.
It's European market, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Could be. We'll have to see. So any points we didn't cover on the?
No, I think anything else would be spoiler. So
yeah, I know.
If you like post-apocalyptic films, I definitely think this is a good one. And I just don't know that it's the most original that you're.
Right.
But
but it is entertaining.
Yes, it does entertain, and the performances are good, and so it checks off probably more boxes on the positive side than negative side.
Yep. There you go. So The Dog Stars is in theaters this Friday, August 28th. 20th Century, I believe.
I don't even remember.
I believe it's 20th Century Studios. So thanks to Disney for that. The Dog Stars. Yep, 20th Century. Look at that. So there you go. Check it out. Ridley Scott directed, Jacob Elordi, Margaret Qualley, Josh Brolin, Guy Pearce, Allison Janney, Benedict Wong as a Mennonite, not a Mormon.
Not a Mormon.
Not a Mormon. So there you go. Till we talk to you again, be good. Stay safe. Go see a good movie in theaters. Don't forget to like us. Follow us on social media. Go to the website, vsmoviepodcast.com. You know where that is. If you're watching this on YouTube, click subscribe. That would help us out with the algorithm. And we will talk to you soon. I am Mark. That's Ryan. Bye, Ryan.
See you guys.
Take it easy, everyone.